What's going on, everybody? Logan, also known as DonLog from Infinite Money Trading. Going to be doing a live charting session here for you all. I haven't done this in a while. I know this helps a bit, so we're taking a look at work. There was a nice 5% breakout here today off of some nice volume. Let me show you the volume down here. You know, about double the average that we've been seeing here, especially over the last 10 days or so. So definitely a confirmed breakout off this. You know, a lot of velocity. This popped up just in my watch list. You know, I have a big buy watch list. That's a pretty big gain on, something that hasn't been moving very healthily. A lot of bad news around here. That's about 7 days in a row, red candles. Now it's time. So we're going to definitely look to make a play. We first got to see what's going on here. So right off the bat, you can see we're really in a lot of supply right here. So first things first is going to see, turn this into support here. So we'll get to that. What I'm really looking at is over in this area. So this is off of the earnings here, this big, gap down. So we're going to try to remove this from the analysis here, besides any trends coming in there. So you can see, there's a channel in here, and then obviously get a little out of hand here. This is when the market was taking off. It even broke out of the market's channel. So when you take a look at when we were doing the SPY charts, you had the channel here and it overreacted, overextended, and then gap down as well. This obviously was in tune with that and also exacerbated by earnings. And so in terms of down here, you get this trend line. So that's the first thing that we're looking at. So let's take a look. Something, along these lines, right? So take a look at the way this breaks out off of a lot of volume. That's really nice there. So let's start this out. So high to low here. Take a look at the price movement here. So what you're going to have here, it's a nice wedge, right? Here's your bottom trend line. So a wedge because you have two trend lines converging, but they're also converging down. So, a triangle would be this bottom trend line being flatter. Wedge moving down. So take a look at this wedge here. This area here makes it a little interesting because I'm going to take this into consideration. So this would be a continuation of an uptrend, right? So when you're thinking about the patterns, it's not just, okay, we have a wedge here. We wedged out and now we're going to continue an uptrend. So I know that this here is a bit of a channel and not much was getting done. We're bounced between some resistance and support. But what I think I'm going to look for is there was a nice trend going on in here. There was some, some up and downs, but it feels like it's pretty good. So I'm looking for an inbound trend. Maybe we'll take into consideration this right here. Try to angle it through here. You can see how the lows are getting higher through here. So maybe from the start of this trend, so probably this is the start because you have an uptrend here. So from here, that looks pretty good. You get these two candles here. So again, we're looking for wick touches and also, a confluence of sorts of important price action. And so you have obviously some nice wick touches here. So this trend line did act as support. And what I was saying was you did have resistance here on this candle. So you had a bit of a gap down and it seems like there's a lot of reaction there. So that's just off of the first, my first look when I take a look. Maybe extend this out, that's fine. Put it to about right there. All right. And then for the upper, so again, we're going to ignore a bit of this because the market and everything overextended. It looks like I can really just place it right in between these two wicks here. That looks really nice. So you can see how these two price bars also react. So, sometimes you get this where one of your trend lines is going to be, a little bit more out there. It's hard to get exactly, and I don't want to put the trend line down here, right? I need a range, a channel. So what are we looking at? We're looking at a continuation wedge. This is bullish, of course. And so we're looking for a continuation of this trend now. And so, not exactly that I talk about price climbing back into a channel. This, I'm not speaking exactly to climb up in here. Sometimes it is, but what I'm really looking for is for this channel here to now just transpose over here. And so we're looking for, this sort of velocity to continue from here. And a good way to always look at it is sort of on this breakout line. That's really, the angle that we're looking at. And so that's coming from here. And so looks very bullish. I like that. I think this is a pretty nice channel. Again, this is a breakout off of volume. You always want to have volume dictating. I talk about velocity as well. This is a nice breakout. It's not just one wick coming out. So even if we looked at this yesterday, the wick came out a little bit. That's not what we're looking for. There was no volume either. So you can take a look at the size of this candle in comparison. This is a confirmed breakout for sure. And so I like that. So here's your trend lines. Let's now work in some support. So let's find, we already found one here. So this is going to be resistant still. If you take a look at the wicks here further back, what do we get back here? So see, even right back in here. And so you want to look, so we don't have many data points here to work because work IPO'd recently. So we're taking, let's see. Let's put it in about 310 or so. Let's say that. So right on the high of today. And so what we're looking for is for 310 or 3010, excuse me, to turn into support. In terms of support, let's take a look here. What I'm going to look for is to go off of the lows of the candles, since we don't have many data points to work from. You can use the high and the low for finding supply, but I want to look specifically for the lows for where price bounced off as support. Let's see. Maybe right in here. That looks pretty good. So take a look at just the cross there. So even back here, take a look at this candle. Let's throw that in. So support. Perfect. Put it in there. All right. And then we have more support, further down here. So, there's a lot in here. Let's just throw that in there as well. Let's say about right there. Take a look at this candle here. So here's what we're working with. So entry-wise, either tomorrow we open above the 3010 and get a successful test and turn it into a support. So, the price movement would look something along. We open up and bounce, turn it into support, or we open below and you're probably going to get a bit of a rejection. We may even come down to support and bounce again. If we open in the middle and velocity goes through, then that would be confirmation as well, even if it does not come down. So we're going to have to see what happens. This is, there's a lot of things that can happen, but all of them point towards 3010, which is the biggest level of supply, turning into support. And there's not really any other resistance up here. So if we just take a look in this area, just take a look at the size of the candles, the volatility, everything moving. There's not really resistance other than this trend line. Take a look at the trend lines. These were very easy to spot. Took 2 seconds to see it. That's the real resistance that we're looking at when we're up here. So what does that mean in terms of how fast this can move? There's a lot of open space. So take a look at the range in here, right? So what's our, from even just this, a 0 bar move, that's 22%. So if we're looking for, further, based, how many bars we have here? This is 28 bars. And so if we think about a price target, that's definitely not what we want. If we think about a price target 28 bars from now, let's see, how far up is that? So next resistance after here is not until about 36%. That's 40.96. So we're not targeting up there, but pretty close to up there. I'm thinking more on here somewhere. So supply, that's it. That's what we got to get through. There's not really supply in here. This is just not enough candles. So I like to get support and resistance that has a history. And this is a pretty new stock still, so this is all we're working with. But local wise, there's not really anything good in here that I'm looking at. So a couple other things. Let's take a look at some technicals here. I already have some of the simple moving averages up. You can take a look. This is the 21 day. So crossed the 21 moving average today. So that's a nice bullish technical to see. So obviously already above. This is the 200. That's the 50. So already past the 21 day today. So that's a nice move through. Let's take a look at CCI. Let's see if we're have any overbought looks. Not yet. That's going to be a nice bullish signal there when this breaks through as well. So this looks very nice. So nothing there. Definitely you can see some of the bearishness in here. See when this crosses down. Definitely looking bearish there. So CCI, nothing really. Let's take a look at the MACD. This probably looks a little bit better. Okay, so here you go. Here's a nice bullish indicator from today, oscillator from today, MACD crossing from yesterday to today. So there's, so you got a 21-day moving average cross. You've got the MACD. Let's take a look. Maybe the Williams. Let's take a Williams %R. Okay, so here you go. You get the cross on the 50 as well on the Williams. So that's 3 bullish technicals all from today. So, or excuse me, the MACD was yesterday into today. So those look good. So when I put up those techs, that's some of the things I'm looking at. I'm curious of what the KST looks like. Okay, so we got a cross. That's not yet. So you're about to get a cross on the no shirt thing as well. I like to look at that a lot as well. Let's take a look. Let's see. So keeping those techs in mind, the supply in mind, let's work out a target price here. So again, we're not reading any news. I know earnings is coming up around here. There's been every single earnings I think they've had has missed. So there's been some pretty big price movements, but if you take a look at the movement before earnings, it's been phenomenal. So I think you got an earnings down here, so that's not as good. But that you can see that a few bars before get some reaction. So we're racing this 100% on price. The amount of movement, the velocity that we can get in here, we were taking a look up there. Let me get an exact figure. So 28, we're looking for 28 bars. When I see up here, it's about 20%. I would like to go from that high here. If we actually just think about this wedge and you flip the wedge the other way, that's one way to always look at this, because your angle here is really opposite to the trend here. So I'm thinking about this trend going over, I'm going to say right up into 36 or so. And then I saw the trend line at 38 or so. I'm talking about the price. So I'm going to say, let me throw it up. I'm not going to type it all out for now, but let's say about 36.25 to 38. How do you like that one? So that'll be a target. I'll make it look nicer better later. So that's it. That's the work that goes into it. So hopefully this helps a bit. I have no idea if I covered everything well for you or not, but that's a quick look into seeing a trend, a pattern, confirming a breakout, taking a look at some of the technical supply, The play, again, if I just go over it, is buy on support, sell at resistance. Resistance is not this resistance here, because we're looking to buy on top of that when it's support, or if it's the support, you're not going to sell at this resistance. You can for a quick swing, but what we're looking for is this resistance, this trend channel, or this entire channel here. We're looking to sell when we hit this resistance. Now, why would we do that? Well, that's how price is going to react. Now, price likely will enter a new channel, but this is not the same channel that we're going to be looking at here, but it is a trend line that is going to make price react to it. Just take a look. If you're not convinced that price does not react to certain trends, just take a look at the reactions here and how quickly it was to be able to find that. It's just a reality of how it's going to work. And so I'm looking up here. I'm looking for a big gain. Again, if we're talking about 38, well, that's 27%. So if I get these contracts, hopefully I get them tomorrow. We push them out, maybe to the December calls. We're talking maybe 1,000%. Not a bad day. So hope you guys enjoy this. Until next time, videos hopefully every week, and I'll see you in chat.